the sheriff get his own day, a couple days that he's going to do it as they requested?
They opted to do it at the old EMS facility.
And so Motorola is going to go out there and do
Yes,
all
sir.
theirs on
Yes,
their
sir. We had
timeline?
originally scheduled everything at the emergency services facility, and they said they would prefer that they be last, and they do it at the old EMS facility.
So you were very accommodating. Thank you very much,
Yes,
sir. And is there any other discussion before I put this to a vote?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead, Jamie.
Ron, looking at the breakdown of what everything is and where all the radios are, the fire marshal has 111 radios.
No, sir, that is not correct.
Okay.
When they program these new radios, we will get a printout of exactly who has which radios, because that was my concern as well, is we do not have the number of radios that are listed here. They were issued out to other departments, and mobile communications could not tell us who has what radios yet.
Okay.
So that breakdown will be coming after they do the programming and the flashes. We'll have a serial number list of every radio that each department has.
And each radio will have its own separate ID and its own
Yes.
alias as well. And so that will make keeping up with them a whole lot easier, I believe. It's kind of been a nightmare, hasn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the mobile communication radio maintenance contract for fiscal year 25.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner McCall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it unanimously. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you very much.
Next be the Community Protection CCPT and Child Fatality Prevention Teams. Matthew Hillman and Lena Jones come up and visit. Nice to have you here.
Hi. All right, good evening. Lincoln County currently has a child fatality prevention team and community child protection team, which are made up of local members. The purpose of these teams is to review child fatality cases so that we may provide a community-wide approach to identify and address gaps in our system to prevent maltreatment and death in children. The General Assembly recently amended general statute to restructure these teams, either to a regional model or to a local model. The decision is that of the county commissioners after a recommendation from the local health director and DSS director. Matt and I previously provided a memo that detailed each model, and I'll let Matt tell you why our recommendation is to stay with the local model.
Good evening, Commissioners. We would like to recommend a local model. Coming from other counties and then coming to Lincoln County, I was able to experience the the tight communication among the stakeholders that attend our CCPT and our CFPT teams. And we don't want to lose that by going to more of a regional model. We are able to have the appropriate stakeholders at the table to discuss critical cases and to provide feedback to us, and we feel like that is very valuable. It also adds to continued work, and those relationships go outside of those meetings, and in other kind of critical decision-making processes, those relationships then are extended into the community. That's why we would continue to recommend the local model.
Do I have any questions?
The one thing I will point out for this board, the only thing it truly changes for this board is the appointment authority. Currently, the way the local team is structured, this board is allowed to put 5 community members on that team. That is being taken away. There really is the state, and I think the health director and the DSS director would agree, there's really no purpose of having community members on this team. Instead, they are being replaced by ad hoc members that the board themselves can request to come. They can be experts in certain fields. So if they're dealing with a certain type of child death, they can have an expert in whatever that type of death was, come speak. This board will still appoint some members, but that is limited to specifically what is in the statute.
And if I'm not mistaken, the commissioner comes off the board too, and that's not going to break my heart. And not because I don't mind serving on that board. It's just that it's kind of a difficult board to serve on because you're talking about children who died in some unusual way, or even if it's a way that's even simple, that's all they're talking about is child deaths. And for a parent, that's pretty tough. And it's one board that I will not miss, I have to tell you the truth. So do I have a motion to accept this?
Make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you both for what you do, because having been to several of these meetings, probably not as many as I should have, I know how difficult this is, and I know the compassion that your team shows to all these folks and the comfort that is provided to the families of the children and the outreach that you are able to do because of these meetings. I think it's pretty remarkable, and it's a wonderful thing, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Request for formal bid exception and award of contract for asset management software. Jonathan,
Sorry for the long titles.
that's okay.
So I have two items for you today. The first one is the formal request for bid exception and award of contract of the asset management software. So this is the software that will take us from pushing papers around all of our facilities with work orders. We'll also track all of our equipment and all of our assets out in the field to a better extent that we can actually track the money that we are spending on, for instance, main breaks and the time and effort that goes into those, and just maintaining the system, all of our pump stations. This will also wrap around to our treatment facilities as well, in helping and maintaining those pieces of equipment and that are vital to those facilities. So the formal bid exception, we are going through Omnia Partners Cooperative Purchasing Program, and it's awarded under the Verdosoft Products and Services Contract 01-165 for public sector agencies. So this was a competitively bid contract that we will be utilizing to get that OpenGov software.
Jonathan, is this going to stop people from calling me about the smelly pump station at Burton Road?
No, we will still probably get calls on it, but we will be able to respond to your inquiries better. And when was the last time we were out there, and better handle those questions.
Thank you, sir.
Jonathan, was this appropriated already in your budget?
So this was part of the state appropriations that we got for the 2023 state appropriations funds. So this will be $347,873.78 of that $10 million fund that we got.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner McCall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously, John. Thank you, sir.
So the second one I have for you today is the Bethel Booster Pump Station Relocation Project. This is the contract for the engineering, design, bidding, and construction administration on that contract. This is another state appropriations funded by that 2023 funding. This one will be a contract in the amount of $399,360. This will take us all the way through the construction of the new pump station. That Bethel Booster Pump Station has been in operation for well over 40 years. It was the first pump station on our system before we had the water treatment plant, when we only got our water from Lincolnton. So it is in much need of a bigger facility, better disinfection at that facility, and newer pumps.
Thank you. Do I have any discussion about that? Motion made. I need a motion, please.
I make a motion to approve the Bethel Booster Pump Station Relocation Project Engineering Design, Bidding, and Construction Administration Contract.
Motion made by motion made by Commissioner Lineberger. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much.
Vice Chair Cecina, I just want to add real quick as Jonathan said, just so the commission is fully aware, this is that $10 million state appropriation where the Utilities Department evaluated priorities, and we did both repairs and new needs, and both of these projects is under those funds, that $10 million that was allocated.
Thank you, sir. Now we're going to, next on the agenda is public comments. This is where we allow citizens to address the board concerning any matter. Let me remind you to give us your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak or 5 minutes of speaking on behalf of a group. If you are speaking for a group, that group must be identified. I have one name on the list. That would be Alan Hoyle. Come on up, Gunny.
Board of Commissioners, just want to give you a picture and about the courthouse, and it's been mentioned before about the flag, but I just run across an old article, and it's from Lincoln Times picture, and with our current sheriff, Bill Beam, was there, and that just, to me, limelights the whole issue and the problem that they just took and didn't mean to take it in that degree or for that reason, but that's what come up. I also thought we was going to be talking about term limits tonight, but anyway, I just wanted to mention not only with that, but that the board really ought to be, they ought to be a balanced budget, and we shouldn't be borrowing money for loans. That's, I know it's, seems like it's a constant thing with government, but our federal government has barred us into oblivion where we're just totally destroyed. And spending shouldn't be there should be a spending limit without going over that without a public approval. Just want to read you this from Scripture as well. It says, "For if you thoroughly amend your ways and your doings, if you thoroughly execute judgment between man and his neighbor," we're not doing that real well. "If you oppress not the stranger," and that's not the illegal alien, "the fatherless," which is orphans, "and the widow, and shed not innocent blood in this place," which we call that abortion, "neither walk after other gods to your hurt," which we're doing that too, "then I will cause you to dwell in this place in the land that I have given to your fathers forever and ever." But then he goes on and says, if we don't do that, then his fury is going to be poured out upon this place. And we're kind of seeing that as well, and coming upon America, and as the county's board of commissioners, we were having so much conflict, and anybody that don't see anything, as the old saying, is an ostrich with his head in the sand and everything else. But you know, from not only the illegal aliens, and I haven't heard anything from the board, or the sheriff, or the county, city council, or anybody else to address the illegals of over 18 million people, and many of military age, and many of them from foreign countries that are taking over places. And the last one I heard about was even in Texas, they took over another apartment complex, many of them. So, and I know our county is not exempt from these issues. We just hadn't had a massive scale that some of these other ones has had. And I know that if we don't deal with it, then it's going to be on us all, and it's going to really hamper and hurt and destroy and murder our law enforcement, or peace officers, I'd rather say, because we won't stand up and do what's right. And I know it's outside of what the norm of any county commissioner's ever done before and ever had to do. But I believe our time is drawing really short, and we all know the election's coming up if we even have one. But I just encourage you to really do duty and get involved. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Whoa, hold on. So the issue with the flag.
Yes, sir.
Frank Runyon came to me not too awful long ago about a memorial at the courthouse. And I spoke with John Henry, the manager, this evening. And I'd like to have a memorial placed at the courthouse with the names of fallen first responders, not just law enforcement officers, but first responders. And that'll take a little research, because I don't know how many firemen died and medics and that sort of thing. But we want to add the 4 names of the deputies and agents who passed away as a result of the gunfight serving our warrant. So to do that, we're going to have to dig up the base. And if we have to dig up the base right there, then we're going to replace that flagpole.
Oh, okay.
And so what I'd like to see us do is replace that flagpole and put one of the correct size in and put the memorial there as well. So I've asked John Henry to kind of look into that, start looking into that, and I intend to start looking into a memorial block. As long as we don't build a statue, we can do this for a relatively reasonable amount of money. But if we try and put a statue there, you're talking $1,000 to $100,000. But we can put a nice memorial there that has a space for additional names, not just the 5 names, John Howell and the 4 officers. So I did listen to you the last time you came and talked about this, and I certainly agreed with you that that flag needs to be different. When I first saw it, back when we first built the thing, everybody told me it was an optical illusion, and I thought, well, it's a pretty dadgum good one because I can't tell the difference. So I want you to know that we listened to some of the things you said, and we're going to act on them as well as the things that Detective Runyon has suggested as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
and
sir.
I thought we proposed to even sort of do something like that at our historical courthouse, which now I guess it's getting out of the county's hands and going into the cities. But I'd proposed that we actually call that John Howell First Responder Memorial, and that's what I was trying to get assistance on, and do that very thing of having a distinction maybe of those that died on the clock, or however best way to word that, and then those
Line of duty deaths.
Right. Yes, sir. Right. And
So I can't comment on that because I don't know the specifics of what's going to happen at the old courthouse. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know that. I do know what we're going to propose for the new courthouse. So I think that Josh and his crowd will probably have something to say about the old courthouse. But thank you, Gunny. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Gunny, one more second. You mentioned term limits. I don't think you was here our last meeting, but we brought that up and we had a long discussion. What we found out was that in order for us to set any term limits, it takes a change in North Carolina's Constitution,
Right.
which has to be done at the state level.
Right.
Well, there's no counties in North Carolina, not out of the whole 100 counties, no one has any of term limits for county commissioners. So what we did was, and you're welcome to read this letter afterwards, we voted to send a letter to Senator Ted Alexander and Representative Heather Ryan to basically say that we are in favor of term limits, and this is what we would like to see done in the future. It was a 3-2 vote, and you're welcome to see this afterwards.
Okay. Thank you.
Finance officer report.
Good evening, Commissioners. This evening, I am bringing to you the finance report for August, which is 16% of the fiscal year is completed through then. And as you can see, investment earnings are still minimal. A little over $5,000 was booked through August. That's because most of everything in July and August was pulled back to June. We budgeted $1.8 million, and we do expect to make that budget. Ad valorem taxes for the year are budgeted at $88.9 million. Tax collections through August are almost $32 million, mainly due to the discount that the county offers. And then sales taxes are at 33.4, and you will see nothing there. You will start seeing that in the October report, because July, August, September get all pulled back to last year. Currently, well, as of the end of August, total revenues in the general fund are at 23.5% of budgeted amounts. Expenditures are at 15.5%. Utility fund revenues are 18%, while expenses are 23%, and that's due to debt payments that are already paid in July and August. And the solid waste fund revenues are at 31%, and expenses are at 17%. The 31% is because the fee on the ad valorem tax bill, so when they pay their taxes, they're paying their solid waste fee also, so that's why we have high collections at the beginning of the year. The auditors were here. They have left. We've got them the first draft of our audit. They have sent back some corrections in the notes and such like that, and we're fixing all those, and we hope to have it back to them later this week. There is some problem at the state with getting some information from them on what's called the SEFSA, the Schedule of Federal and State Awards. They got us the last information on Friday, and from what we can tell, it is incorrect. So I don't know, we're hoping to have the audit in by next Thursday. I don't know that we will. It all depends on the state, what they say. So we will keep you updated and let you know. Are there any questions?
Does anyone from the board have a question of Deanna?
Thank you.
No, ma'am, thank you. County Manager's report, Mr. Madden?
Thank you, Commissioner Cecina. So just some project updates. One, we had the gentleman come and spoke to the board a couple months ago about America's 250th anniversary. We'll be celebrating 26. I want the board, just as a follow-up, to know that this has been put underway. Vanessa Leon, our PAO, is steering this project, and we have been approved to submit a grant application. This will allow the county to apply for either a $10,000 county committee grant, or if their committee wants to pursue the community-based program through a 501c3, we could, and that could award us up to $30,000, but they haven't decided yet. But regardless, once those applications are made, we receive those funds, they'll use that to plan for the celebration of America's 250th anniversary. West Winds Park ribbon cutting was held for Phase 3 was held on Tuesday, October the 8th. Commissioner Mitchum was in attendance, along with John Davis and Facilities, John Henry, and myself. We had a pretty good turnout. I think it was a good project, and for anyone that has not had a chance to visit West Winds Park, especially with their children, it's just a phenomenal location. It's got some great playground, beautiful site. I highly recommend anybody taking a visit to that location and enjoying what the county has done out there. And then lastly, I just want to put out an apology for some of the inconveniences at the voting site at East Lincoln Community Center. I know that we've been doing the paving there and some parking construction. This timing due to the storm and everything kind of fell and created a problem for us. We had hoped that the disruption would be minimal. And one thing I will make an effort to the board is we'll reevaluate our project schedule in the future, especially in election years, to better serve the community. So that's all my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. County Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So, brief report, but a letter was sent to Senator Alexander and Representative Ryan on October 16th of 24. And Mr. Hull, I have copies of that letter if you want one. And a copy of that letter was placed at each of your seats before the meeting. We are continuing to work on policy updates internally between the different departments, myself and the county manager. Recently, the credit and procurement card policy was updated effective September 20th. The public records policy is effective October 15th, 2024. The fleet management policy should be updated and signed off this week, and the travel policy is in its final stage of approval. Last, public records requests are now being handled through the Next Request portal. It used to go through a form on our website. The website links have been updated, and it goes through the Next Request website portal. Our PAO, Vanessa, is handling most of those in consultation with myself and the county manager. And we did our first completed one today, so yay. But all emails are being directed to that portal, and this will allow us to better track those requests. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
If I may.
Go right ahead, sir.
We're talking about the letter to Ted Alexander and Heather Ryan. I mean, there's one thing me and attorneys already discussed is the fact here that says the opportunity to discuss the possibility of implementing term limits for elected officials. Now, elected officials being who?
I would imagine all elected officials, sir.
Well, I thought when we was talking about this, it's basically just the county commissioners, but this bring the city council in,
I think you can't do one without the others, according to the North Carolina State Constitution. If you have an amendment to the Constitution, then it has to be all or nothing.
so this be registered deed, clerk of court.
Everybody.
So it would
Sure.
apply
Sure.
differently. It would apply differently to other statutorily created positions. So, for example, House of Representatives, senators, those at the state level fall under a different part of the Constitution. The sheriff falls under a different part of the Constitution. But locally elected officials all fall under the same portion of the Constitution. So therefore, if they made a change to the Constitution, it would apply to all other elected officials that are not specifically defined in the
So can you
Constitution.
give me a list?
Not off the top of my head, but I can say city council, board of commissioners, register of
You got the
deeds,
sheriff, you got the register of deeds. you
Carol,
got
let her
the court.
let her finish, Carol, let her finish.
board of commissioners, city council, board of elections, which were all mentioned during the comments from the public, and therefore that is why I put elected officials in this letter, which was reviewed by Chair Davis and Vice Chair Cecina and was approved. But if you would like to make an amendment, I'm sure
No, I just
Senator
want to
Alexander
make
and
sure everybody on the board understands what this says. And it was my impression that, I know it was discussed by the school board and the city council. And it shocked me a little bit to see elected officials without a definition of elected officials for Lincoln County.
Okay. County commissioners have anything? Any reports? I'd like to say that I'm pretty darn proud of the folks in Lincoln County for getting out to vote. When I got elected in 2018, only 12,000 people voted in the entire time. Since Thursday, over 10,000 people have voted as of Saturday afternoon. In 3 days, over 10,000 people in this county voted, and it was pretty darn busy today too. So thank you everyone to Lincoln County, for getting out there and voting. It's incredibly important. I'm real, this past month has been pretty exciting for everybody. Between the voting and all the supplies that were issued out to all the different counties, this county has really come together in a huge way. And no matter our differences, we're going to come together and do the right thing for the community. And I'm pretty darn pleased about that. I'm pretty proud to be a Lincoln County citizen. Yes, ma'am, go right ahead.
You saying that made me think, because I've been on NACO's boards at National Association of Counties at the United States level, I get a tremendous amount of emails from FEMA. And so I'm sharing those with staff, with emergency services, our PAO, and our attorney, and also David. And twice I've been contacted about Lincoln County possibly needing any economic development from the gentleman's name, his name, oh my, he was a chief, he was a chief deputy to President Trump. His name's William Crozer. And he sent me, basically it was like tiny homes that could be purchased in the event that someone's home was totally destroyed. And I shared that information with North Carolina Association of County Commissioners staff, as well as with David, our county manager. And then today he followed up again with me and asked me how hard were we hit in Lincoln County. I told him, thank you so much for following up. I appreciate that. And that, compared to our counties that are more western, we were minimally hit compared to them. And I did tell him that I shared with some of my other commissioners that was within NCACC that was more western. So I just wanted to let the public know that.
Thank you, Commissioner McCall. Commissioner Lineberger, do you have some vacancy and appointment presentation, please?
Yes, sir. I'd like to appoint Jim Kowanzinski to Lake Norman Marine Commission and to the Library Board. Sheila,
Stolarina?
Stolarina, yeah, that's a good job. So, and I'll bring that in form of a motion.
We have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everyone. Is there any other business to come before the board at this time? No other business. Will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Commissioner McCall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Now, I'm not going to